I want to go over breaking barriers, and a lot of what I see when I'm working with various clients or wholesalers, investors, agents, once they get into the world of, hey, I'm going to start my own business, and then you see the excitement, then you see obstacles, and then you see typically someone either changing the market or feeling like it's not a true fit for them. It bothers me to see people get like that because it's not necessary. One, two, you're right on the cusp of, breaking through to the other side, and you oftentimes don't see it. Has anyone ever seen that diagram of two people digging a hole and it's like sideways, and they're like they're digging through a hole, and there's one guy who has the diamonds and the other guy who's walking away and he was like right about to be there? It's very much that mindset. So I want to hear today obstacles that you've had, things that you've interacted with that were challenging, help you get through them. Number one, but number two, talking about, when to actually pivot, what actually works, what actually wastes your time, and how we can create a system that one exposes it, which we already have in our previous episodes, but also how to quickly get past this stuff too when it is in your way. So identifying the root cause of issues, identifying the root of a mentality that you have, whatever it might be. It's either going to be understanding yourself, understanding your clients, understanding your product or your service, and figuring out how to best utilize what you already have. So a lot of people, in my experience, especially when I'm working with various investors or operators in the hospitality space, it's almost always they are unable to manage time and they blame everybody else, right? When I'm overwhelmed, I'm time constrained, and things don't fall along exactly how my schedule allows it, typically you blame someone else, right? Has anyone have experience with that? When you're feeling very busy, something doesn't go your way, you kind of just feel like it's everyone else's fault. You're running late and traffic's going the normal speed it always goes, but you're super mad that everyone isn't driving faster. No one's bending to your will. It's a very, very human response to not getting your way. I often refer to operators and say it to them directly, like, hey, you're acting like a little kid right now who's not getting their way. They get, oh, what the fuck? You know what I mean? And I let them get mad at me so I can expose what's going on, right? Very bluntly, but also very kind of holding their hand, walking them through it. And that's something that I see very often with wholesalers, like more often than not with wholesalers. Oh, this community sucks. They won't help me. This sucks. Things aren't going your way. You feel certain pressure. You feel a certain sense of desperation or necessity to get something done. And you blame, blame, blame. So, number one, what I'm going to say right out the gate is before you get started even looking at your business, you have to make sure you have your accountability intact. And that means, what does my role look like? What do I want to be? Where do I want to go? And then how do I become accountable for all those things? So you're going to write down, your role. If it's just you working in your business, it's just you. So you're responsible for everything in your business or in your current setup, whatever it is, whether or not you're starting wholesaler, investor, agent, whatever. So understanding your accountability, if you guys refer to the Catalyst Command Center meeting chart that I have, that I've gone through a bunch of times with now, I can put it in the chat real quick. In that, you are going to have an accountability chart, and you can go into ChatGPT. You can do this a million different ways. It's super easy. But all you're writing is your name, who you are, what you're doing, and what you're responsible for. So if you're working with multiple people, you should have them be doing this as well. So you have a summary and your actual role, your actual responsibilities, what you are accountable for. Don't look at anything else in your business until you have that done. So you always have something to look at and say, hey, this is who I am, this is what I'm doing. And you're going to align this with the core values we talked about, your branding standards, all those things. And your role should be implementing those things, right? Everyone's role should impact some portion of the core values, some portion of your goals, some portion of your niche. If it's not, you don't know how to create a role. And then from there, you are going to look at your constraints, whether it be time, whether it be capacity, whether it be outwardly things, the market shifting and you don't know how to pivot in time, whether it be lead generation, you're paying $500 a month for leads that aren't getting you any traction because 2,000 other people are getting the same leads, whatever it might be. And you have to then ask yourself why and how right away. All right, I have an issue. Why is this an issue? And a lot of times it's an issue because you think it's something you need that you actually don't need. And a lot of people might be including it in their business, so you feel like you have to do it. And then you actually come to find out, hey, I don't need this thing. This isn't something that I should even be worrying about or spending my time on. And then how did this come into the business and how do I get rid of it? Because the why, if the why continues, right, after you ask yourself why, if it remains true and it remains in your business, in your day to day, then you say, how is this happening and how do I get rid of it? In that, you start writing stuff down. You literally just start writing stuff down in terms of how to get rid of it. Is anyone going through a certain obstacle right now that we could kind of run a mock example on? If not, I can just make one up, but it'd be cooler to work with one of you guys now than me making up a hypothetical. Is there any situations, bottlenecks, obstacles, issues going on in your personal day-to-day work that you'd feel comfortable talking about? Sergio's typing. We'll use Sergio's example here. Dealing with people who don't get the idea of what they could made and make it harder for everyone else. So you're talking about people who don't understand your process and make it harder because of arrogance, essentially. Is that what you're saying? Yes. Okay. So why is that an issue and how do you get by it? Right? So why is it an issue? You're unable to get through to potential clients. How do you get through it? Is it something that you need to be worried about? Is it something that's always going to be a part of your business regardless? Is it a true issue? Actually, what I'm going to ask is how often is that happening? What percentage of your calls is that happening? And guys, this goes back to episode 1 where I say build a system, track everything, have your KPIs. So if you have your KPIs and you're writing feedback on your day, and this is happening 25% of your calls, 30% of your calls, that is an issue, right? Sergio is definitely a little slighted by it. So he's calling them essentially arrogant or incompetent, right? He's saying, hey, why are you making this harder for everyone else? This can be so easy. So I would like to know how often that happens right away. And if you're following our system, our operating system, all right, so 40 to 45% of the time in different spaces as well, I'm going to just flat out say it, Sergio, that's on you then. There's something that you are doing. If 50% of your outreach is being rejected by people and them not wanting to work. Because I would say that happens to me maybe 5% of the time. Maybe. Like it's not an issue for my business whatsoever. So I would go out and I'm going to be honest, it's very likely on your pitch, your confidence, or your sense of the conversation, right? So you might be reading people wrong. You might be coming off wrong, might be coming out too hot, might be coming out too timid. I don't know. But in the wholesale space, if 50% of the time you're being pushed away right away, or they're making it so hard to work with them, this is so difficult, I'm going to come out on a limb and say it's definitely something you're doing. So we have to ask ourselves why. So this is a point where you refer to data if you have it. If it's happening 40 to 45% of the time, I'm assuming you have data. I need to change. So you go straight to the point. You're not building rapport. I wouldn't want to work with anyone I don't know and I have no rapport with. All those things, that matters, dude. That greatly matters. Where, last week it was very much, my approach is this. And you're going to change your approach for the buyer that you're bringing to the table, right? So one buyer, my approach is, hey, like I'm working with my investing partner and we're acquiring a few properties. We were being super selective because he is. So I'm coming out being fully transparent. Hey, this is my partner. This is what we're doing. This is what we need. This is how we do it. If we're a good fit, great. If not, okay. Like, how can we become a good fit then? Then you have a different set of issues. So getting past that right away and you asking yourself, why is this happening? It's not them making it harder for everyone else. It's you making it hard for them to make it easy for everyone else. Because that's what their job is. They're an agent. They are there to represent their client and to get the deal from point A to point B. If they're fighting it when you have perfect based solutions and a seller's already saying yes and they're the one causing it, that's them making it hard for everyone else. But you getting that in the first minute, 2 minutes, typically it's on you. And that's fine. That's why you're here. You're looking to learn. You're looking to get into it full time and do your thing. So this is part of the process, right? So how do you get rid of it? You already kind of say, I need to change the way I get right to the point. Is that what you have to do? Do you need to practice more non-serious calls? Do you need to get buyers day one and come to the table and do what I do, my approach? What do you say to build rapport? Building rapport is, so change your mindset out of sales and client gathering, right? So number one, go get your buyer. Go get your buyer, get really comfortable with your buyer, make a good friend out of your buyer. And now you know their process, you know how they buy, you know what they want, you know what they like, this, that, the other. And then when you're getting on the phone with agents, all you're trying to do is make a friend. Make a friend and display confidence in getting the deal done. So what changed for my initial calls, and this is reverse wholesaling, this isn't cold calling, this isn't all this other stuff, all these different ways where everyone's like sales, 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 this, this, this. This is what works for me because I want to do it in a human way. So that's like my precursor disclaimer there for everyone is straight up, it's I want to get on the phone and create really, really strong relationships and networking connections because I have serious buyers. So boom, in your mind now, I wired it completely different than I'm wholesaling, I need money, I'm broke, I need to do this or else I can't pay my bills, which is what most wholesalers are doing when they first start out, and then they get really good at it, and then they grow businesses just like so many people already have, and they just crush it, right? So this is what I would do. Number one, get a buyer. Learn everything about them that you need for a deal. So when you show them a deal, you're not wasting their time. Find a way to pitch yourself and your buyer as a solution for sellers who have the properties that your buyer wants. In that, you are just making a friend with your agent or potential seller. So whether it's on market or off market, you're just now saying, this is what I do. Tell me about yourself. You ask questions about them, not only just the property. And you have, this is where like quick wit or just solid conversational, social conversational skills apply. And that's all you really got to do. I mean, typically, if the ad is good, so like the listing is good, I have the information I need for the most part, I'll usually say that. I'll say, hey, like, I don't have a ton of questions. Here's the list. Like, the listing looks great. I want to get in the running for an offer. Is there anything else I should know before, we start talking? And I say that pretty early in the conversation. I usually talk a little bit, tell them what I'm doing, and then I tell them like, hey, I don't want to waste my time or yours. And then I come in, say, the listing covers everything I need. Should I be assuming cost, or do you happen to have XYZ cost? So like typically I'll underwrite this at a 25% property expense. Can you verify any expenses, or should I just underwrite based on that number? Those sorts of things where it's open-ended and they'll tell you what they do know. You're not prying it out of them, and you're also displaying confidence in, hey, I can underwrite this without you. I'm on the phone just to see if there's anything else I should know. And then you just create connection through there. Tell them about what you do. Tell them about, whatever. And you're asking them the same types of questions so they can tell you about them. A lot good agents like to talk. Like they enjoy talking. So typically, I mean, that's how I'm going to go about it, is just that. It's a networking opportunity. If it works, it works. If we're fit, we're fit. I'm not going to force shoes to fit. I'm not going to force deals to work. We're in a market right now where there's so much out there that I think you waste more time trying to force something than, the deals that are waiting to be called on. And it's just someone looking for the right person. It's not always who's the quickest to the door. It's who's the quickest to make that person trust them, to get that person on board. How else do you do that other than by being honest, transparent, and making a friend? It's all these people are doing. Oh yeah, I just really hit it off with the seller. It's like, dude, I had 3 people offer on that property. Now I'm talking to the guy who got it under contract. It's almost always the same answer. Yeah, we just really hit it off. I mean, me and Ryan had that situation a couple times where he called an agent, and then I called, and the agent was super nice to me. Me and Cole had that a couple months ago. Cole got reamed by this lady. I've never heard anyone be mean to Cole ever. I don't understand it, how you could ever be mean to that guy. This lady just tore him apart. I called and asked the same exact questions that Cole asked, but my tone was a little different. I was smiling while I was on the phone, and mainly because it was funny, because I thought I was about to get cussed out. And then we ended up placing an offer. It didn't get accepted because we already knew it wouldn't, but that's not the point. The point was, let's have an example of how to build rapport on someone who doesn't want to work with us and we already know it. So there's no rhyme or reason for any of it. It's just what works for you. Are you going to be yourself? Are you going to be organic? And then obviously, there's philosophy of negotiation techniques, there's sales techniques, smiling, raising tone of your voice in the beginning of your sentence, nodding while someone talks. There's all these little things you can do that shows engagement, builds trust, and relates to people in a way where they find comfort in talking and working with you. So how do you get rid of it? Or how do you do that? 40 to 45% of the time you're on the phone. I think you really got to work on the phones. You got to be okay with that for the first couple weeks. Like for me, the first month of calling, it was, I probably made about 1,000 calls in a month easily. It sucked. It sucked. I was getting told to fuck off every 2 calls. So I got a buyer and I started walking into deals more confident. I learned the lingo. I learned what lingo not to use. And I just started looking at it as make friends. I saw a lot more success from that. Does that help at all, Serge? Does anyone else have any other experience that they want to add to that to kind of help Sergio out here? I'm not going to box you in, Sergio. Like, I don't want to box you in. I don't want to be like, no, only do this. Our philosophy of negotiation. In our Catalyst resource library, there is something I don't post scripts because I think it actually kills the deal for you. And everyone and their mom has a script and this, that, I'm just over it. So, Sergio, I know I've sent this to you before, but this, I would listen for some script words or sentences, little things you can say. So in that link, you have a podcast or you can read the document. It's something I worked on. It's typically what I refer to. There's mirroring, there's different voice settings for yourself. Are you going to be the excited, super enthusiastic guy? Do you want to do the late night DJ approach? Do you want to be very stern, direct? So there's all these different voices that you can embody or utilize. And then there's different tactics in there too. When to ask yes and no questions, when not to, how to really go through the conversation mentally, and things that you should be checking off, like, hey, I'm doing this, this, and this, versus, hey, my partner and I looked for a property. You listen, caught our attention. What can you tell us about the property? That to me is not a good approach. I do something similar, but what I'm doing is a little bit different than that. You know what I mean? It's hey, how are you? Saw this. You got a couple minutes to chat about it? Awesome. Me and my buddy, we're buying 1 or 2 more. We're being super picky about it. We're just trying to see if this is a good fit. Your listing's great. I only have a couple questions. I won't waste much of your time. Usually, if the agent's good, yeah, sure. What do you want to know? I just look at the listing and I ask a couple questions, and then I usually say, like, what's it like in this area? What's your opinion on things? And I just try to get them talking. So it's not much different. It's just how you say it. Like, hey, Bob, buddy of mine are looking in the area and your listing caught our attention. What can you tell us about the property? They're going to be like, did you read the listing? So I would take that last part. So what can you tell us about the property out? Be more direct, be more confident, professional. Show that you are capable. You don't need them to tell you everything. I feel like agents don't like doing their jobs all the time. It sounds like, yeah, I want to do the same sales call every day. And that's, they're getting called a bunch. If it's showing up on your list, it's showing up on someone else's list. So be aware of that and get past it early. Say the things that need to be said early. Get yourself in the running right away. Show more confidence right away. Show that, you can underwrite with just a few details and be able to get a quick answer and go from there. I think that'll get you a lot further than just, so what can you tell us about? So your how to get rid of it is going to come down to practice. Truthfully, it's going to come down to practice. You got to try different things and you have to find your voice. So like what works for me might not work for Ryan, might not work for Miles, might not work for Matt, but it works for me. But the mindset will work for everyone. The process, the philosophy of negotiation, understanding people, that's almost human nature at this point. But everyone's different. So how you'll have your own voice, everyone will have their own too. So it's just being able to read people quickly. And like a skill of mine is I don't even think it's a skill. I think I call it a skill now, is I'm very quick-witted. Dude, like I can go get beers with a group of old guys and they'll just be laughing the whole time because I can just make fun of them super quick. I can say stuff situationally that works. And like my girlfriend talks about it all the time. She's like, I don't understand how you come up with stuff so quick, because we'll be hanging out with friends and I just say shit. That is something that applies to my work too, where I study it so much that I can just let my brain go on autopilot and say it, where they say something that's conflicting to what I want to do, and the pivot is so quick and effortless now that they only feel confidence from talking to me because I moved it I moved it so fast. I tilted the needle back in my direction. And this is one benefit of underwriting a deal before, if you are good. Like if you are good, like if you go and give me a full underwritten deal and say, hey, like I just can't close this deal for some reason, and I have all of the details, I should be able to pivot throughout the whole conversation back into what I want every time because I have everything I need. So if that's something you need, and although it is against my time block recommendation for you guys, which is call, then do LOIs, if it's something you need where you, for the next 2-3 weeks, only underwrite before you call so you fully understand it, you're fully confident on the phone, and then you're actually able to prepare yourself a little bit more for the conversation, then you should do that. And that's something I said early on in our, I think it was like episode 2 or 3, it might even been episode 1, where what you're doing is preparing your system and preparing yourself to utilize your system, right? And you're going to have to underwrite a ton of deals to get super confident in the vocalization of the deal. Now, my intention can sound a million different ways because I can say it a million different ways. Does that make sense? I have talked to myself a long time already, so I'll practice how you just taught me. You're welcome, Serge. Serge, you know what you're doing. It's just, it's what? English is your 4th language, right? You know how many languages? I think it was like 5 or 6 actually, right? Cash deal too creative. Cash is too low. I'm going to then look at loan. Number 1. I need to know the loan. Yeah, English is your 6th language, dude. Give yourself a little slack. Give yourself a little bit of grace. Like, I mean, that to become very affluent or very skilled as a negotiator, a closer, an acquisitionist in your 6th language, you have a different obstacle than I have. You might not understand our social cues in our conversation. Whereas in your language, I'm sure you understand the social cues and tonality way differently than we do. So it's like that's tough. That's really hard. So you have a different obstacle than just your pitch. You have an actual observational obstacle where you are observing and listening to a language that you might not get all cues in. So I can get cues, no problem. English is the only language I speak. I know a little Italian, a little Spanish. I can't pick up cues in those languages at all. So it's just, for me, that's actually sounds like your true obstacle here. Exactly. So maybe that's something you look at. There are a lot of investors, big, huge investors, especially down in Florida. That's, I guarantee you know their language. Like I know down in Tampa, there's a huge presence of Indian investors that are just cleaning up the commercial space. Why not work with them? I can't work with them. They're not going to trust some white guy who's living up in Minnesota. They probably work with you. You know their language. You'd probably make them feel comfortable. I'm sorry if that sounds a little insensitive to anyone who's listening, but let's get a leg up where we can, right? If I can talk to an East Coast Italian guy, I'm gonna go talk to an East Coast Italian guy. That's where I'm gonna do really well. That's where quick wit, all the things that I talked about myself will really come in handy. Yeah, well, I don't know all that stuff. I'm just coming up with things like, hey, like utilize your language with who you can. Why wouldn't they like you? Why wouldn't they trust you? If you're a good guy, which you are, and you have all these reasons to work with you, you're disqualifying yourself before you even get a chance to get on the phone with them. You're just taking yourself right out of it by saying that. That's like myself as an Italian. I'm Tuscan. Me being like, I'm not working with Sicilians. Why not? I could talk to them, figure it out. How likely are you to take no for an answer, and how likely are you to turn that no into a yes if you never get on the phone? Oh, yeah, I mean, they're scammers. Don't talk to scammers. Don't work with scammers. I'm talking about the actual real estate professionals who are spending hundreds of millions of dollars that I know for a fact exist that you should be trying to talk to. You get in with one of their companies, you're good. There's no way you wouldn't be able to find a deal for them. You're good at finding deals. You need to look at what you have on a personal basis, what you can bring to the table with your skill set, and who does it best fit. You know 6 languages. You're smart, you're young, you're ready to learn, you're coachable. Sounds like you'd be a perfect fit for something like that versus, what you're experiencing right now. Because like you said, a lot of scammers, like 80% of the population, that's who calls me and tries scamming me. Yeah, you're right. So how do you either got to work on your language or work with people who don't care. And that's a really real obstacle. I see investors say like fluent English only, United States based only on VA and calling team recruitment. I see it all the time. Don't tell them you're from the Northeast. Where's the best place to be from? Tell them you're from there. People ask me where I'm from. I'm like, I'm from the East Coast. I don't say I'm from Pennsylvania. I don't say I'm from Philly. I don't say I'm from New York. From the East Coast. That makes sense? So just say the best place to be from. Yeah, I'm here. You know what I mean? What are they going to do? Fact check you? Dude, you literally own a village in the middle of the jungle. They can't fact check you. If they do, who cares? So your obstacles, Surge, are definitely unique to you and other people in your country, which is a very real obstacle. Honest advice, work on the phones, work on your pitch and your language. The language is going to be the biggest thing for you, man. I can't remember his name at the moment. Ashik? I mean, he has an accent. I'm gonna have to cut this part out because I don't want to just name drop him on YouTube, but he has an accent, and that dude locks up deals like crazy. I mean, he's starting a whole new company now, so he didn't let it become an obstacle. He found a way to get by it. So that's the point you're at. You have the skill set. You got to find a way to get through it. How do you get through it? You work on your language, you work on your pitch, and you utilize the areas right now that will respond best to you at your current level. But you don't take yourself out of the game before you get in. So, like, personally, calling small towns in the middle of Ohio probably isn't the best place for you to call. I would call more progressive areas who can handle being on the phone with someone with an accent, which I told you this months ago. I said, maybe, a small Ohio town isn't where to call. You know what I mean? Maybe call places like Houston, Nashville, places that have melting pots of different people, Florida, where it's not uncommon, California, they're okay with hearing an accent through the phone and it doesn't turn them off because they're racist. You know what I mean? So you're going places that aren't racist. And sorry for anyone who lives in a small town in Ohio. You might not be racist, or you are. I don't know. But I call a lot of places, and there's a lot of places that someone like Sergio won't do well on the phone. That's the reality of the world, unfortunately, and I'm sorry you have to deal with it every day with your work. But there's ways around it. Anyways, any other obstacles, guys? Serge, I really hope that helped. Thanks for coming out and saying all the stuff that you said. Feel free to DM me, and if you need any more coaching or help on it, I got you. So, did you guys see how the issue changed as soon as you started asking yourself why and how? And what did I say earlier? Is most operators blame somebody else before blaming themselves. And they do it in a way that kind of throws tantrums a little bit. Like they almost act like a little kid. No offense, Sergio. It was just a really great example of it. Dealing with people who don't get the idea of what they could make and they make it harder for everyone else. So Sergio's issue was I have to deal with people who don't know shit and can't get shit done, right? And then we get into it. Say how and why. Why is that the case? What's going on? And then how do you get rid of it? And then it's 50% of my calls, I'm talking to people like that. So you look at your accountability, your goals, the stuff that you need, and then it's, I need to work on building rapport. Well, why do I need to work on building rapport? So now we're talking about the why of building rapport and why aren't I able to build rapport? And then you get down to the root cause of calling in a bad area that's non-responsive. So you guys remember day one, I said, you're going to develop your voice in a place that it resonates the most. So Sergio, you missed that part. You know what I mean? You missed the part where you develop your voice and then you find where it resonates best. And then you're going to go and say, now, how do I do that? What's wrong with it? Why do I have to go to this place? So we quickly found out the language barrier, the social cues, is affecting his ability to build rapport. So now you have an actionable item. You have something that you can put down and track, whether it be taking language courses, doing voice chats only with friends. Stop texting your English speaking friends. Maybe you just call them and say, hey, I'd love to catch up with you later today. Can we talk on the phone instead of text? Those little things right there, your language will get great. I have a friend who's from the Middle East. They moved to the US, I don't know, a year and a half ago. When I first came here, they didn't even know what a car was, like the word for car. And now they're like fluent. They're great. They're going to college. Like the conversations that we have are unlimited now, but they used to be very, very limited. Like we would have talking to a phone to talk to each other. So there's no obstacle here other than, a few things like that. But main point I want to reach out is you ask yourself why and how. Why is this an issue? How do I get it through it? Why is it so important to me? Like it has to be important if it's an issue, right? Why is this relevant to my business? And how do I get rid of it? Or how do I improve? Because sometimes your why is this relevant to my business? You're going to find out it's not. And the more deep down you dive into it, you're going to realize it's just a simple switch for you. And the how is just stop doing it. How do I get rid of it? I just need to stop doing this. Other times, it's going to be a situation like this, Serge, where we create a whole process and a plan to get past that obstacle and make sure it's a short term goal with a long term effect. Anyone else working on stuff? Obstacles, anything? I can come up with a few that I had. I think that would be a great idea, Sergio. Your English isn't bad. It's not bad at all. Like, you have good English. I think confidence would go a long way. We've talked plenty of times. You kind of mumble, but I think that's your confidence. I don't think it's actually your ability to speak the language. I think there's just points in your conversations where you grow less confident in the words you're using, but you're actually using the right words. I think starting at a good comfort level and, getting on with some English speaking people on the phone and just practice, you'll be fine. I don't think it's as bad as you think it is. So I'll tell you guys a huge obstacle of mine that greatly affected things early on was I built the business without a true idea of the brand direction and goal. And I'm saying this because I see so many people do it as well. Where I got going and it was really good. Like, things were started out good. First deal was, I started mid-January of that year. I had a $20,000 assignment by February 4th. I had another $20,000. It was $27,000 assignment by like March. So I was like, oh my God, I already made my salary in 2 months. Like my W-2 salary, I made in 2 months. And I thought I had this good brand direction. My goal was, all right, I'm a wholesale, make enough money, buy everything, and be a landlord and start a real estate firm. And it's the easiest thing to do when you start making money is you don't want to leave any money on the table and you overexpand, overstretch, and you step outside of your brand and your niche and it hurts. It's like my biggest advice right out the gate is you got something that works, you never sacrifice it to do something else unless you are fully prepared and able to take a hit in the time that it takes you to start that other thing. But a lot of operators, they see demand as they grow. So as I grew, I saw demand in all these different things in the communities and the softwares and this and that. And next thing I know, I'm developing an AI. I'm getting quoted 60, 70 grand for different platforms. I'm buying properties in states I don't know about, doing all these things. And it gets to the point where you're like, okay, I made X amount of money. I have all of it out in the world. I lent on a deal. I bought a deal. I flipped this deal. I wholesaled 6 properties. And it's just so much because I didn't want to leave any money on the table. And it actually hurt the business. It hurt the business. I think it burnt out Shane, and that's why Shane left. I think it led to huge confusion for anyone who was working with me. I think it muddied the waters of my brand, of my reputation. I think it was like really hard to be like, hey, like, what do you do? Oh, I do it all. You know what I mean? So for all of you, when, you're off the ground, you're making money, you have a pattern, you have all these things working for you, you're going to face that same thing. I don't know a single owner who doesn't. I truthfully don't. And it comes up so often in my consulting gigs where their operation's going well and they're like, well, I think we should open this. I think we should do this. And I'm like, why? Why not find a way to get this operating without you? Your margins bigger and the ability to step away, do whatever you want, have freedom, and then do whatever you want. Because then you can take that process, apply it, and from day one, it's actually operating without you. Why don't you do that? Why operate 3 things when you can get the process and system down so you never have to operate, but you can still make the money? And that's a mindset, that's a switch. And being an owner doesn't mean you're rich, and being a CEO doesn't mean you know what you're doing. Anyone can be a CEO. I can start a LLC tomorrow and I'm a CEO now. It means nothing. What means something is highly deliverable or highly efficient deliverable product and service and time, freedom. So that was my obstacle. My obstacle was, oh my God, I put the brand in 12 different directions. I did this, I did that. I focused on the wrong things because I didn't want to leave money on the table. I wanted all the money off the table into my pocket. And come month 8, we had a dispo company, we had a software being developed, an AI software being developed, which don't even get me started. I had 3 flip projects, wholesale operations, the community, clothing, coffee, and then try to have a personal life. That's 8 things. And the most important one, I just listed last because that's how my mindset was. And that's truthfully still it. I'm like, it's just my personal life. So how do you fix that? How would you guys fix that? You over leverage all your capacity and expand yourself out into basically a, a web, a gigantic ecosystem that you created out of what you think was necessity. How do you fix that? What do you focus on? What do you do? It's overwhelming, right? Who knows? What do you do? Well, what we did or what I did was I analyzed what works the best. What's the most profitable? Number one, what has the best return? And then what do I enjoy? What do I care about? What can I wake up excited for? And that's very much a situation all of you are going to get into if you stick to, scaling your businesses and everything is you're going to reach a point where what do I do? Do I want to expand out into another direction? Do I want to pivot? Do I want to keep doing what I'm doing? Try to make more money doing it? Do I want to hire people? And what you're going to come down to is what do I love doing? What makes best return? Where you actually have a choice, where it's not just listening to what other people are doing and you see their success and then you're like, I want to be successful too. I got to do what that guy's doing. Maybe that guy's successful doing what he's doing because it's meant for him. Maybe it's not meant for you. Maybe you're supposed to do something else. Maybe you're supposed to focus on a different niche instead of trying to force things to fit. So a bit of a tangent there, but it's going to keep coming down to the whys and hows. Why is it an issue? Why is this relevant to my business? How do I get rid of the process? How do I improve the process? How do I eliminate the obstacle? How do I lessen the effect of the obstacle? Because there's some bottlenecks that are inevitable, like our markets, like regulations. How do I lessen the blow from these regulations? Sometimes you're forced to pivot. So when is it necessary to pivot? That's the biggest portion of it is when is it necessary to pivot your brand, pivot your business, pivot all your operations into something else? And when is it necessary to stay put and realize, hey, no, this is going to blow over and I need to lock in now because I'm going to be better later. So great example of like battening down the hatches, really locking in was earlier this year. I would say from February until about April, which is very common. A lot of real estate slows down. But this year kind of hurt a little worse. And the message that I was sending was, hey, this is like an off season. You need to be getting ready for the summer, getting ready to blast, and having this market shift in your favor. And now we're starting to see that. I'm seeing more deals from our community members. I'm seeing more buyers reach out to me. I'm seeing more sellers reach out to me. And it's all relative, right? It's all subjective, of course, whatever market you're in. But it's very much, I could have pivoted because February, March, April were a little tough and I knew it was going to be tough. Or should I lock down on everyone who's ready and seeing the same thing I'm seeing and stick with what I'm doing? Which is what I did. Am I going to go buy a fix and flip in February when I know the market's doing what it's doing? No, I'm not going to do that. Am I going to lock in more serious buyers? Am I going to lock in more operational success in terms of transaction coordinators, vetted lenders, contractors, all that stuff? I'm just going to I'm going to apply everything I can to get my system as operational and as ready for a boom than play to a short-term bust. I'll relax now to grow later versus I'll sit and worry, stress, change operations for, maybe a couple minor things that aren't going to make me long-term flow, long-term cash, whatever. So being able to recognize these things, you guys, the only reason I was able to is because I referred to the same system I keep telling you guys to use, which is right in our platform. I will post it for you guys right now. It's all I'm doing is I have KPIs. I have everything I need to look at the data. So right here, that document, as always, is what you guys need. I'm calling it Catalyst Pulse. It's a pulse on your business. You should be able to look at it in 5 minutes, know what is needed for your business. If you fill it out and you follow it once a week, you'll see this stuff. And then you'll have a year full of data that is so absolutely invaluable. And on all these indicators of which way you should go, left, right, center, whatever. Should I stick with the path I'm going on? Should I move into this path? Should I move into this path? Very, very black and white. A lot of people won't look at it like that though, and that's fine. It takes time and recognition and repetition of doing it for you to be able to see like, all right, last February, March, and April sucked too. And I pivoted and I pivoted and I took on a partnership that sucked. And I'm not going to do that this year. What's working? What did work last February, April, March? February, March, April, whatever. What worked? Oh, what worked was when I made this partnership, this partnership, this partnership. I did a short-term lending deal. That was a great time to do it. That way I had capital by June. What do you know? What did I do? I mean, I'm getting paid 26 grand tomorrow on a lending deal that I did. And that is a fact, you guys. That's not me making it up for the conversation. I lent 10 grand, got 26 back in 3 months. Instead of me going out doing a flip, worrying about stuff, worrying about partnerships, worrying about contractors, I didn't do that this time around because I had the data. Now your obstacles don't become obstacles. It's not an obstacle if you see it coming and you do something to avoid it. That's called being a business owner, making moves and knowing what you're doing. So the worst our market's been in arguably the last 4 or 5 years, it's not affecting me because of me using Catalyst Pulse and talking to mentors, asking questions, talking to people. And most importantly, asking, why is this relevant in my business? Why is it needed? You know what I mean? And how do I improve it? How do I get rid of it? How do I lessen the blow? How do I make sure I'm okay? And there's a reason I keep saying, why is it relevant to my business? Why is it important? Why do I need it? Do I need it? How do I fix it? How do I get rid of it? How do I improve it? You know what I mean? Those things, because I want you guys constantly hearing it, because when you come up with an obstacle, that's what you should be asking yourself. Then if you don't know what's the best thing you can do, ask somebody. Don't just wing it. Don't just hope that it disappears. It's not going to disappear. It's only going to get worse. You got to fix it. So use Catalyst Pulse. It is a free resource. It's a free business meeting right there for you. It's all set up. All you have to do is fill out your stuff. You should be going in, filling out your company name, your core values, your motto, your niche. Go find your buyers, fill out your accountability, write it all down, write out your wins, your weekly wins, your personal good, or your personal best thing from the week and your professional best thing from the week. You should be writing all that stuff out and then going and saying, I'm going to improve this every week. What's the bottlenecks? What are the constraints? And going and writing actionable to-dos. So when you have your constraint, what do you say? You say, why is this relevant? How do I fix it? How do I get rid of it? Etc. And there's your action. And then once a week, you sit down and do that. And then your whole week is centered around operations and the actionable steps that you wrote down in your meeting. So you time block your day, communicate with buyers, do my operations, do my to-dos on the to-do list of Catalyst Pulse that I wrote out for obstacles that are in my life that I need to get rid of. You set your day around those 3 things, your business is going to grow, you're going to get more deals, you're going to have a fully huge impact system ready to be used at any point in time. Like, you will have it. You'll have everything I have if you just do that in terms of a system, right? That's my whole system. You can go read a book. There's a book. That's all I did. And it works. It truthfully works. And it makes you a better operator the more you use it, which is really fun. Because now I can go into other people's businesses and tell them exactly what to do, and it works. I just got put on a $12,000 retainer for a month and a half, a month and a week of work. And I've already figured out most of it. Like, I was really thinking I'm going to have to work from noon to 5 every day on this business. And we already have gotten things like pretty stabilized. I'm going there after this just to check everything out. But you make a few subtle adjustments after the Catalyst Pulse and you guys are you're in a different category of operator as soon as you use it, I promise you. And it's fucking free. All it requires is a little bit of your time, an hour a week. Hour a week to do the meeting, and then time block your day, set aside an hour a day to do the stuff that you were saying you should do for your business. So for Sergio, it's, working on, set up phone calls, work on your confidence in your 6th language. It's right down in there. Or you can just consume every day information, do nothing, expect it to work. Because that's what people are doing. The amount of information consumers and versus action takers is fucking nuts. Like, the amount of people I talk to who are like, oh, I'm super interested. I'm like, okay, like, cool, tell me more. And I want to learn. All right. You can only learn by doing and by implementing a system. As soon as you implement your system, it forces you to act. Got to have some skin in the game. Got to have, So now we know how to get rid of the stuff that doesn't work. How do you keep doing the stuff that does work? Sergio, do you listen to American music? English music. I found like for learning Spanish, that was like the easiest way for me to learn Spanish. I just listen to Spanish music. It's pretty helpful. Pretty helpful. You can like slowly go from pop to rap, and then Eminem is your like goat tier. If you can learn a full Eminem song, I think you'd learn like 1,000 different words. Do you know who Eminem is? Yeah, I get that. But if you're trying to learn a language, I'm just telling you an easier a way to do it. You're not going to learn it perfectly, but hearing it more and saying it more definitely works. More on pronunciation, confidence, flow. How do you maintain your wins? How do you maintain the things that are working? Which sounds like the easiest question in the world to answer, but it's not always easy. And it's kind of setting back to the point I made earlier, right? So I kept the data. I kept what I did. I kept my system active and properly utilized every day, and I referred to it. I set something up like a bowling alley with bumpers. My system is the bumpers. I'm the bowling ball. You know what I mean? So my system kept me aligned. So all I had to do is reference it. Oh man, market's really shifting. Like mid January, I noticed it. I was in Erie and I was working on the flip, and I'm like, shit ain't right. Like, I had Cole keeping his KPIs, and I started looking at his call numbers, and I'm like, hey, like, did you change your pitch? What's going on? Like, you were having, like, he was having some high success rates. What's going on? I'm like, oh my God, the market's shifting. It's shifting bad. And then we went to war, and then all these other things happened. This, that, the other, IPOs, stocks, fucking everything said bad. You know what I mean? So what did I do? I got the project done as soon as I could, got it on market as soon as I could. I lowered prices for everything to get them gone. Sold one, have an offer on another, and working on an offer for another. So cool, great, whatever. So with that all being said, what are you guys doing that gives you a pulse on your business and on what's going on in the market? Are you guys, does anyone actually keep KPIs and data? Like, are you recording your success on your phone calls? Are you writing down trends of conversations? Is that stuff that you guys are doing? Just Ryan, eh? Those aren't KPIs, Sergio. That's going to hurt you. Sergio, so you should be tracking the theme of the conversation, how it went, what worked. You know, like when you get a good response from an agent, you need to be writing that down, what you said, and add it to how you pitch yourself, how you talk, your whole phone call system, right? You're going to essentially create a theme or a rhythm to your calls based on what works for you. If you don't track your KPIs and have an idea of what's working, what's not working, where to call, what types of homes to call, all this stuff, you're not going to find the success point of your work. So, truthfully, guys, what I would do is get on ChatGPT and say I call for 4 hours, every single call, write out a full feedback on it, list the address. So, address, how the call went, what worked, what didn't work, every single one. And ChatGPT will remember all this stuff for you. And then you, at the end of 6 months, 3 months, a month, whatever, you can go in and say, hey, where was I the most successful? What's the common feedback from my calls? Give me a full analysis and how I can get better at talking. The AI is going to analyze all of it and say, hey, no, you are very good in Detroit, and your most success per call is under $100,000 in this zip code, this zip code, this zip code. Your best pitch is this verbiage. You do very well at this time of the day versus this time of the day. It'll have everything you need. So how are you leveraging free tools to make yourself better, right? But no one's thinking of that. No one's talking about that. They just want to fill out sheets and never look at them again. So what I do is I take my detailed KPIs, and essentially it's what I'm gathering for all of my callers, which is, 7, 8 people. I take all that, I throw it into ChatGPT, and then I analyze it, then I change the leads I'm giving them that fit them without even talking to them. We meet what now once every 2 weeks, and I'm saying, hey, how are your leads? And then I take their feedback, apply it, and then I go and fix it again, fix it again, fix it again. Now I'm tailoring a system to them, and the feedback has been week 1 versus week 8. Now everyone's leads are getting better. I'm looking at their call ratings. Not only did their confidence grow in their process, but the lead quality ranking went from 2 to 3 stars for this person or these people, and now they're most typically 4 to 5 stars, which 5 star is the highest rating. So it's very much, how am I going to tailor stuff to my voice? How am I going to tailor it to what works? How am I going to track all this stuff? And then you have it too, where you can go and ask and say, hey, will you put this in a well-organized Excel sheet, all the data and telling me all this stuff, and then you have a year's worth after a year of working all this stuff, and now you can go into it and say, I need market trends. I need predictions based on my voice, my workflow, my process, my system. And then you have a forecast for each season of the year. And then you can get that an economical, can't talk. You can get an economical index. You can feed in the news, the policies getting introduced, all the stuff that's affecting you outside that affects the market, and apply it. And now you have another forecast for something if shit hits the fan. Does that make sense, guys? Does that sound like something everyone could be doing? Or is it just as simple as just getting on the phones and calling no matter what and just operating? Who do you guys think wins in that situation? The person who forecasts, keeps KPIs, tailors everything to their voice, or the person who just calls? The fact that no one's saying anything, we're going to go with the KPI. The person who does their homework and sets up their business 3 months ahead rather than reacts to a market. You're an early investor if you're working off of true data, especially data that's tailored to you and your voice. You become an early investor. You're not working in a 90-day window, you're working in a 1-day window, 5-day window, but your forecast is phenomenal. So that's, to me, how you keep your business growing, keep you managing your whole system, everything you have going on. That's a difference maker. It's use the system that we have in place, Catalyst Pulse, boom, you're good to go right there. And then either put your stuff into a lead tracker, a CRM, ChatGPT, whatever, and track all that stuff daily, and then ask it for feedback. Put that stuff in there and get feedback on it. Does that make sense? Sergio, does that sound like something you would do? Could you do it? Do you have ChatGPT in where you are? Are you allowed to use it? I know in some countries it's not allowed. Yes. Okay, cool. So do you think you could, when you get your voice service, right? Do you think you could make 20 calls, address, how the call went, what worked, what didn't work, list all 20? Do you think you would end up finding where you're more successful after a month of doing that? So you'd have 600 calls, so 600 addresses, 600 points of feedback, 600 things of what did work and didn't work. I think you would know exactly what direction to go in after that. You would know exactly what you need to work on, how to do it, where to go, where to look for deals, what price range to work in because that's what works for you, and then apply it to 5 buy boxes, and your chances for a deal, I think, just went up by at least 50%. I think you eliminate a lot of obstacles right there in doing that. It's just whether or not you will leverage what you have right in front of you. You know what I mean? And a lot of people aren't going to do that, and that's fine. I can give you guys strategies all day. It's just whether or not you use them. That's something I would do, though, like right away. And I've been doing it, and it works. We got a deal closing in the next couple days. For someone who joined my system and within a week she got a deal, and within 2 weeks we had it sold. It's 2 properties, not just one. Thanks, Serge. Yeah, run free with it, dude. Let it be a tool. Don't think of it as, oh, I'm gonna have it do everything for me. Have it be a tool. What's really important in your business? KPIs. You need data. You have to have data. You want to be better than them? Here you go. So it's very much one of those things where as soon as you do start tracking it and you're looking at all the things and how they interplay and how your voice and your brand and your strategies and your systems all come into play, next thing you know, you're like, oh, well, a $5,000 assignment isn't shit to get. I can get 10 of those a month because I know exactly who I'm calling, why I'm calling, and what my intention is from the very get and what I need to do. You're building a blueprint for yourself by doing that, by relying on data versus waiting to get lucky. And that's what a lot of wholesalers are doing. They're just waiting and waiting and waiting to get lucky. And investors are just waiting for you to get lucky, and they just sweep in and pick it up, and they're the ones who actually wins. They just got to buy it and do what they do, right? So for a lot of people, the actual goal when we talked a couple days ago or last week was, I want to be a multifamily owner. I want to own portfolios. I want to help my family. I want to sell a deal and buy a farm. All these things, it's like everyone basically wants to become an investor. You know what I mean? So here you go. Like, this is what you have to do. It's not easy. It's not a given. I see people get lucky. What they do with the money after that, who knows? I mean, I've seen tons of people get a deal, great deal, 25K in their pocket, then just disappear off the face of the earth. My last business partner is a perfect example of it. We made 80 grand each in a summer. 80K each. Dude disappeared. I'm now worth almost $2 million. I love him. Always will. Always will have love for him. So what you want to do with it, guys, is up to you. The blueprint's right there. The series, I'm going to keep building on it. We're going to get more and more intense. We're going to get more detailed. We're going to get more intricate about everything. So if you haven't been watching, and this is kind of the kick the door down stream today where we pull back the curtains and we say, hey, this is how you go from being typical to operator and start building your actual business. And I'm here for the ride with you guys. I'm here to make it work. I want to work with you. Let's get stuff going. Yeah, there you go. So Sergio, what you want is peace of mind. That's what you want, right? So nothing on this planet should get in the way of that, right? You're talking about land that was passed down to you from your dad, people that you're responsible for, another business, another avenue for other people to get what they need. And all you want is to be able to relax and wholesale. Great. There's your goals. Now you know what to do. So, Sergio, this stream was super great for you today. This is as good as it gets. I mean, we covered everything for you. Literally, you have all the next steps now. So, guys, we're going to start wrapping up here in a second. It's been almost 2 hours. No, you're fine. I ask questions. You answer the questions. We used you as examples. That's why I said I'd rather work with you guys actually help than create up thank you, Ryan, than create a hypothetical. I'd way rather work directly with somebody. It's more realistic. And I'm sure a lot of people here are having similar issues. All right, guys, we are going to wrap up. I think we're just going to do a normal stream tomorrow. Do some wholesale ops, do some deal finding, whatnot. So, normal stream tomorrow. Make sure to be there. I'll probably be on by 11. That is Central Time. Otherwise, tomorrow we are launching the Ambassador Program. Call it a reverse funnel, call it a MLM, call it whatever you want. I don't care what it is. If you need money now and you want to make some money, help me out. That's what it is. You want people to sign up and get paid for the lifetime of their membership, you do. Running a competition there. Whoever wins, they get paid $500 and a lifetime membership. And then you also keep getting paid all the money. So I know what it sounds like. I don't care. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. You can use AI to implement. That's probably one of my favorite uses of it. It works. It really works. What's really nice too is you get KPIs, you can bring them up and we can talk about them. And I can give you actions on it. And we can actually analyze your business together. And I can help you out. I can point you in directions. I can give you ideas. If you just need an idea guy, dude, I can give you 20 ideas in a matter of 10 minutes. That's it for me. Everyone have a good rest of your Tuesday. If you need anything, as always, DM me. And I will talk to you all tomorrow. Ciao.